Hello everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. A second chance often starts with a steady paycheck.
It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
Why a job fair is specifically looking for Mainers in recovery for drug use.
And performance-enhancing drugs could bench a Patriots superstar, but Julian Edelman will not go down without a fight.
What do you say to the person that saved your life? Thank you?
She was a good Samaritan who may have saved his life. The social media search for an anonymous guardian angel.
This is News Center Now.
That's my...
Businesses willing and ready to give Mainers in recovery a very fair shot at steady employment. Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. We will have that story in a moment, but first, some developing news now. Game wardens are investigating a death at Great Pond in Belgrade today. Wardens responded to the pond after multiple reports of an unmanned boat. After stopping it, a Belgrade firefighter found the body of 64-year-old George Bonney from Sydney about a quarter of a mile from his motorboat. They say he was not wearing a life jacket and that he was the only one in the boat. We will have more on this story as information becomes available.
Now, for the thousands of people in Maine trying to win their battles against drug use, a stable job is a big first step.
Employment keeps people in recovery out of the vicious cycle of homelessness, drugs, and incarceration. News Center Maine's Chris Costa shows us why these second chances could save lives.
A shampoo, a blow dry, and a trim are all free for these customers today.
I haven't had a makeover in a long time, so it's interesting.
A fresh look matched with new clothes. The first steps towards helping people like Corey Reynolds get a job.
But with my record, it's kind of been a little difficult.
He is 6 months sober, free from heroin and alcohol. His past, a barrier to employment, which he says led him back down that same path.
Without work, it's been very difficult financially, and if you ain't got money, you ain't got housing, and if you ain't got housing, you don't have much of anything.
More than 25 companies are here for Maine's first ever job fair for people in recovery, hosted by Representative Martin Groman and Enso Recovery.
Many of them are unwilling to put their faces and voices to recovery because of the stigma that's associated with it. This is a health care issue, not a moral failing, not a criminal justice issue.
25 to a month, 25 days to a month.
Even select inmates from the York County Jail are getting pre-release interviews. Between 80 and 90% of the inmates in Maine are behind bars for drug-related offenses.
There's two things: housing and meaningful employment. It's huge that when they get released, that they have those natural supports and they can just start with different habits.
Thank you.
I'd say that everybody deserves a second chance or even a third chance. We're just providing the opportunity. They're really doing the work.
Drugs and crime may be part of their pasts, but everyone here feels they need another chance in order to have a different future.
It's a little nervous, but it's exciting at the same time. It'll all work out. I do have some faith.
In Biddeford, Chris Costa, News Center, Maine.
The job fair is also helpful for businesses struggling to find seasonal employees.
And Grohm said that he hopes to hold a similar fair in Cumberland County soon.
All right, the sun made like kind of an appearance this afternoon, but then it went away and then it came back. It hasn't been back enough, though.
Yeah, can't make up its mind, huh?
It's quite a struggle, isn't it, guys, getting us to some nice weather, but it will finally happen tomorrow, and then the weekend looks good. High temperatures officially in Portland, 64, 66 in Waterville, 64 in Bangor. So again, a slow upward climb from where we were on Monday and Tuesday. Current temperatures in the 60s and 50s, but yeah, to Lee and Lindsay's point, we had a hard time keeping the sunshine today. Variable clouds would be the best way to put it, and that's how it's continuing out there right now. Most of the broken clouds across western parts of Maine into central New Hampshire, and a couple of nice breaks in the cloud cover across northern Maine as well. But in there, some pop-up and popcorn kind of showers have popped up across the entire state, really, but concentrating themselves here into northern Maine and into the mountains with a couple of heavy downpours embedded in that. And as I mentioned yesterday, the possibility of a little small hail in a few of these. That's the case when it's cold just aloft. These showers, though, die down later on tonight. We start clearing out after midnight, and we should be in good shape by tomorrow morning. After some early cloud cover, we burn it off, and we're sunny through the afternoon. And guys, temperatures in the mid and upper 70s will feel almost hot after the week we've had.
Almost hot. I will definitely take that. This, not so hot. Pretty much devastating news for Patriots fans. Julian Edelman is facing a 4-game suspension for using performance-enhancing drugs. This is first reported by a couple of national reporters, Field Yates and Adam Schefter. It's still very much confidential. Nobody's confirming it. No shock there. Edelman sat out all of last year after he was injured in the preseason with an ACL tear.
The Patriots have not yet confirmed the report, but the wide receiver has reportedly already appealed that suspension.
Portland and Seattle have a bitter Major League Soccer rivalry. So if you're sitting here going, wait a second, we don't have a soccer team, well, you're not the only one who's confused.
But the Seattle Sounders Major League Soccer team decided to have a little fun with Mainers anyway, while poking fun at the other Portland.
I'm the mayor of the city of Portland, and I love the Sounders.
I'm from Portland, and I love the Sounders.
That's Portland Mayor Ethan Strimling, and former Sounders player Roger Levesque, who was a Falmouth yachtsman before going pro. Ahead of their rivalry matchup with the Portland, Oregon Timbers, the Sounders launched a whole website dedicated to their friendship with Portland, Maine. It says, Portland, Maine, the only Portland that matters. The first and very best Portland in the world.
As with anything shady, the internet is loving it, especially Mainers, who are sending out some love to Roger Levesque. Great soccer player, by the way. Unfortunately, the Sounders are now out of the U.S. Open Cup after losing to Sacramento last night.
An American flag stolen from a church in the Mid-Coast. Wiscasset police are asking Facebook friends to help identify this man caught on security cameras snatching a flag from the Church of the Nazarene on Gardner Road. If this man looks familiar, please reach out to police.
So marijuana is legal in Maine, but federal laws can back banks, businesses, and schools into a corner. Senators in Colorado and Massachusetts and other states with legal weed are asking the federal government to honor the laws of the states instead of enforcing the national ban. The United States Attorney General promised to follow federal laws whenever possible, despite states' decisions on pot.
These archaic laws don't just hurt individual people, they also prevent businesses who are in the marijuana business from getting access to banking services. That forces a multi-billion-dollar industry to operate all in cash. That's bad for business and bad for safety.
Marijuana caregivers in Maine say keeping cash at home makes them an easy target for thieves. A News Center has found only 2 credit unions willing to work with licensed marijuana businesses.
So summer's coming. We got camp, you got practice, you got play dates. Are we overscheduling our kids during the few nice months we even have? How can you tell if your child is taking on too much? And
the EPA has a vested interest in seeing our building not only get clean, but then get used.
We aren't sure if this could get any more hipster, renovating an old landmark into a community rooftop garden. That's next.
A woman wrote, watching you every day is the reason why I love myself so fiercely. And that made me cry.
She inspired Americans every day for years. Thousands of shows, countless interviews, and now Oprah Winfrey's legacy is the focus of a Smithsonian exhibit in D.C. Watching Oprah opens tomorrow at the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Okay, a chicken coop, a berry patch, and rain barrel cafe. Some of the features that could be coming to a Maine city's skyline in the near future.
I've had people, try to talk me out of this idea, and I just don't think I should get talked out of it. I don't.
Tammy Ackerman says she's been staring directly at her dream for 7 years. That's because it's located right across the street from her nonprofit, Engine.
It's a $4 million project if we were to do it all in one lump sum.
Her vision, to create a public rooftop garden on the historic marble block building in Biddeford.
The building's gorgeous, and it will be even prettier, when we're done with it.
And her ambition has captured the attention of local food, local places.
Pretty much the framework.
A federal initiative designed to bring reinvestment to neighborhoods and their food economies.
We had close to 80 communities apply,
And then we selected 16 ultimately that we're working with in this round. So Biddeford is among a select group of communities, and we're really happy to be working with them.
Melissa Kramer and her team from the Environmental Protection Agency are visiting Biddeford from Washington, D.C. Instead of giving a grant directly to Engine, they are providing technical support by rounding up all the resources Engine could use to pull this off.
This growing food is good for the soul, it's bad for the back. Our farmers contributed that one.
Farmers, teachers, city leaders, and local business owners are all on board with one goal: unite the community through fresh local food.
Biddeford's had a rough go of it, over the years with the loss of industry.
Ackerman says her hope is to create even more rooftop gardens on the mills.
Until we get no for an answer, that we can't do it, I don't want to let go of that dream of having a really vibrant, beautiful space in downtown Biddeford.
Now, Engine purchased the Marble Block building for $1 in 2011. As to how they'll pay for all those updates, Ackerman plans to utilize historic tax credits, grants from the EPA, and lots of fundraising.
All right, sounds fun.
exhausting.
This is pretty serious. One of the scariest moments of his life, but she was right by his side.
She was the person that I remember keeping me calm and saving my life.
The search for a stranger who kept him alive when we come back.
A pretty dreary week all around, but is the weekend looking any better? Forecast just ahead. Imagine the unimaginable feeling of thinking you are going to die.
That was one Maine man's reality, but a calming voice who happened to be a trained nurse was in the right place at the right time.
I was given a great gift to still be here. I shouldn't be here alive today.
Back in October, Liam Summers was riding his bike in his hometown of Bar Harbor. Summers, who lives in Scarborough now, is an avid bike racer, and he was going about 23 miles per hour when he slammed into the back of a parked car. He went headfirst into the rear window and then onto the pavement. A team of people rushed to help, including Natalie Yared, a nurse at Mercy Hospital.
Liam had asked me at one point while we were there in the road if he was going to make it, and I didn't feel 100% confident in saying, absolutely, you're going to be fine.
Within days of the accident and with Liam on the road to recovery, he and his wife began reaching out to everyone who had helped on that day to personally thank them. They were able to find everyone except for Natalie.
She was the person that I remember keeping me calm and saving my life.
After days of searching turned into weeks and then months, Liam actually wondered if he had imagined a nurse watching over him on that day. Janine Summers put their plea onto social media, and Mission Find Natalie was in full effect. A few weeks ago, Natalie's boss saw the post, ironically while she was in Bar Harbor, and delivered the message firsthand. Natalie sent an email to Liam's wife.
She called me, she was crying, and said, we found her.
I think my subject line was, I am the nurse who helped save you, or something like that.
The long search was over, and the long-awaited meeting took place shortly after.
What do you say to the person that saved your life? Thank you? I mean, it doesn't seem like enough. It was obviously life-changing for us. I have 2 children. I wouldn't have seen them again.
I was so excited to see you off the pavement, and immediately first I looked for scars and how well you were doing, and just wanted to hug you,
Natalie's from South Carolina, but she's part of the Summers family now. They'll be socializing and spending some holidays together. How could something like this not bind you forever, right? Plus
she goes skydiving and bungee jumping, and I'm like, sweet, there's some really fun stuff we could do here.
Don't get hurt.
Right.
And in case you're wondering, Liam does still ride his bike as often as possible, and he unequivocally credits wearing his helmet as the main reason that he is still with us today. It's a crazy story.
To do that.
I mean, unbelievable that everybody happened to be right there when this awful thing happened, and now he's with us today. So.
Wow, what a reunion.
Yep.
Okay, so are we going to be able to ride the bikes out there?
Yeah, we're getting there. It has been quite a week, though. We didn't have any of these in May, where most of the week wasn't good. But tomorrow looks good, weekend looks good, and everyone will forget this ever happened by Monday.
It's going to happen, doing it during the weekdays, I can live with that.
Yeah. I mean, and look, today was okay. We got to mid-60s in spots, still below average for this time of the year, but closer in Sanford at 68 in Portsmouth, and 71 in Concord. A visible satellite showing scattered clouds, and more aptly, scattered breaks in the clouds across northern Maine in through western and central parts of New Hampshire. And this is kind of like yesterday, where we see a little bit more sun later in the day, but also pop-up showers here, largely congregated into the mountains and across northern Maine, with just a few down across the mid-coast. A few of these have a couple of heavy downpours in there, maybe some small hail as they move off to the east-northeast, probably just into Millinocket here in the next hour, and Lincoln in the next hour and a half. Again, not a big deal, maybe a rumble of thunder, but for the most part, these are just rain showers. Those rain showers die down later tonight, and after midnight we start clearing. Now, we may start tomorrow with a little bit of cloudiness along the coastline in particular, but we clear it out by mid-morning, and after that it's sunny through the rest of the day. Temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. Overnight another system comes through, but it doesn't really affect us, and by Saturday we're partly cloudy to mostly sunny. Temperatures in the 70s again, and then one more nice day for the weekend. On Sunday it'll be a little bit cooler on Sunday, but still sunny. Temperatures at that point upper 60s to around 70 degrees. So Saturday should be the warmer of the 2 weekend days. As we look forward past Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, it doesn't look like we'll get any real rain until Wednesday afternoon. So in a relatively dry pattern with high pressure in place here, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and again, it's not until Wednesday afternoon that we start to see some more showers pop into the forecast. Something I don't really see, though, in the near term at least, is any big heat. We have a chance on Tuesday to get to the 80 to 85, but nothing over that, and that's kind of a limited time offer as the real hot air stays to our south and southwest, which I know suits most Mainers pretty well. If you do like heat, your best chance is Tuesday. I have us at 82 right now. I could buy it being a little bit warmer than that. But again, the weekend looks good, tomorrow looks good, and we'll ride that into Monday. So it's not until next Wednesday that we should have any more showers back on the radar. So again, I think all forgiven by Monday afternoon.
We'll forget this whole week ever happened.
Yeah, it's all part of the main thing that we do.
That's how we do it.
The main thing.
It'll get warm eventually, and when it does, that means summer's going to get here. When summer gets here, well, at least it used to be all about getting on the playground, hanging out with your friends, your neighbors, maybe an impromptu game of tag where you didn't have to text or FaceTime or Snap Face or whatever that stuff is before you got there.
Right, what if? But more and more summertime is now about camps and elite sports clinics. So are we harming our kids by scheduling every moment of their time off? Terry Gruca reports.
Ah, summer. Freedom to play and do what you want when you want. Let's face it, nowadays, most kids' summers are filled with less of this and more of this.
That's better. They're busy. These kids are really busy. My son told me just yesterday when he got out of school that he doesn't get a summer break.
The summer struggle is real for working mom Stacy Jonas.
Both my husband and I work full-time, and we don't have any family who live right here in the area, so we are always looking for activities for our kids in the summer.
Like many parents, they schedule their kids for camp after camp. It's stressful and expensive.
My kids would tell you they feel overscheduled.
A recent study found there are some benefits. Kids who are overscheduled tend to have higher self-esteem. They're able to find more balance later in life and have lower rates of drug and alcohol abuse over time. Other studies suggest that kids who are overscheduled suffer from lack of motivation, burnout, and fatigue.
Telling them what to do all day long, and they get frustrated with that.
Licensed clinical social worker Bruce Ravenscraft says balance is key.
If you want to raise a resilient child, you need to let them have some independence, to be self-reliant, and also to self-regulate their emotions and their behaviors. And they can't do that if you're with them all the time and controlling everything that they do. They need chances to make mistakes and learn from them.
That can be tough when you have younger children, multiple children, or when you have to work.
Our work is important and it's necessary, and yet you want to be there and present to your kids, and so it's always just a struggle to try to keep that balance.
Oh, you got it! Grandparents like Sue Adams offer kindly perspective.
It goes fast.
If you're lucky, you get 18 summers with your kids. Sue remembers when her children were this young. Grandchildren have given her a second chance to stop put down her phone, get back to the basics, something she wishes other families would do.
We don't want somebody else raising our kids. We want them to have our values and you know, spend time and remember their childhood, doing things as a family. That was always important to me with my kids. So I think that's the best reason to spend time with your kids and why we have kids.
Good reminders that summer is just as much about connecting with your kids.
Whoa, boy, you're up there pretty far.
As it is incorporating learning and fun.
And here are some tips if you've got the opposite problem. You have too much free time and not enough things to do. Try some home projects maybe, like painting old furniture or maybe planting a garden.
You can also try a free and easy movie editing app so kids can have some fun and be creative using only a smartphone or tablet.
Okay, but do not start your movie project yet because News Center Maine at 5:30 is coming up and we want to make sure you can see Rob Caldwell. He's got a preview.
Here are some of the stories we'll be telling you about, guys, in the next half hour. Women's bathrooms almost always have a changing table for infants. Why isn't that true for men's restrooms? That question is getting a lot of debate right now on social media after a dad decided he had had enough. That is coming up in the next half hour. Also, unsettling stories about a veterinarian in Down East Maine are spreading on Facebook. We went to Machias to find out what is true and what might be a rumor. Those stories and more all coming up next on News Center at 5:30.
Rob, thanks so much. Brain drops when we come back.
All right, so as you may know, there's a couple of volcanoes going on right now. The most notable, Kilauea in Hawaii and the Big Island. So I got a good viewer question, and I love these, so keep sending them. It was, will this volcano eruption impact Maine's weather? Which is a reasonable question. The short answer is this is actually not a big eruption in the scheme of eruptions. It's impactful because people live there, but it's not a big one. The other thing to think about is if it does have an impact on Maine's weather, it will be because it impacts the climate in general. This volcano is not big enough, but what volcanoes do net is they cool the earth because they spew so much ash and more specifically sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, which basically reflects the sun back up into the atmosphere. So it's a net cooling effect when volcanoes spew into the atmosphere. And they do emit some CO2 as well, of course. But as we talked about, I think you saw the Twitter rant a couple of weeks ago about this, it is less than 1% of the CO2 compared to what we put into the atmosphere. So if anything happens with these volcanoes, it'll be us getting cooler, which of course doesn't feel great this week.
So just out of curiosity, is there like from the time it erupts till it's over, is there like an ETA on that, or is it just everyone different?
Not really. Yeah. That's the one thing. They're good at knowing that something's about to erupt, not good at knowing when it's going to end.
Well, what we do know is that we're done.
Show's going to end.
And News Center 5:30 starts right now.